with a nice leaping
That's a
tackle.
horrible play on 3rd and fucking 3.
Hello everybody and welcome. So this is part 6 of 32 of my NFL ranking series, and for this part we have the New York Jets. Now the New York Jets finished last year with 4-13, and they honestly struggled a little bit as the year went on. And I mean, all the memes about the Jets ended up becoming true, and they just couldn't get anything done really. And now this year they have a really tough beginning schedule, and I don't know how it's going to work out for them. It's going to be interesting to see how Zach Wilson does and what he can put forward for them in the coming season. Because, I mean, I think this year, with what they have looking forward to, it's going to be pretty much just hoping they get something out of Zach Wilson this year, I believe, and just try to see hopefully that he can make the step up in year 2 to show something promising for year 3. If you look at the Jets play from last year, I mean, they only won 4 games. And there was that one game when Mike White threw for 405. And he caught everyone off guard for one of their wins, but the other 3 were accounted for by Zach Wilson. And for the most part, I mean, you can just see his numbers and like some of the scores of the games. I mean, the Jets just struggled, honestly, man. And I mean, looking forward, if Zach Wilson could take that step this upcoming season, they might be able to clean up a few more of these wins and get like an extra like 3 or 4 potentially. But I mean, for the most part, based on their play of last year, they struggled a bit in pieces. I mean, I just wasn't really like much of anything you would point towards good. I mean, they had like some highlight plays here and there, obviously, but I mean, for the most part, they were just struggling most of the season to like kind of find their footing and find who they were as a team. And if you look at their rankings from last season, I mean, bottom third of the league in basically every offensive ranking. I mean, points, 18 a game, 28. They didn't rush the ball very much. They had the 3rd most passing plays, but they had one of the worst completion percentage and one of the worst yards per pass. You were just looking at these stats. I mean, it's not like I'm trying to bash on the Jets for how bad they are. It's just, I mean, when you watch them, they just struggled at times, and they're just stuck in this loop, it almost feels like, where they just can't get out of their own way right now. I mean, and then if you look at their defensive stats, I mean, this is where most of the issues are. I mean, they gave up the most points per game, the most yards per game, and the most touchdowns a game. I mean, they just were bad all around. Their opponents almost got 2 rushing touchdowns a game on them, and then also if you look at the pass, they were bottom 3rd in the league. It's just the team as a whole just has so much more they need to get better on, and I mean, looking forward to this year, they have gotten some pieces that potentially look exciting for them to fill it. Like, for example, they signed C.J. Uzomah. They signed Greg Zuerlein. I mean, so they got some decent signings. And obviously they got Sauce Gardner in the draft. They also got Garrett Wilson. So, I mean, this team has a lot. They're looking to basically flip the script, and they're trying to get a lot fixed, but based on their schedule, I don't know how that's going to do. Because, I mean, if you look at their schedule, their first 9 games are an absolute gauntlet. They have Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Miami, Green Bay, Denver, New England, Buffalo. Those are all really good teams that are looking to take a step up this year. If they were to get wins at all, I would have to say, they might, based on this whole Deshaun Watson situation, Cleveland might be their best game out of that. Because besides that, I mean, maybe Pittsburgh, maybe Miami. But I mean, even then, I don't trust them to do that. So I mean, they're potentially looking at going 1-8 or 2-7 at best by week 9, and then towards the back end of their schedule, they can maybe get a game against Chicago if Chicago plays bad. Maybe steal one against Detroit. I mean, maybe beat Miami if they don't beat them the first time. So, I mean, the way I see this team I see this team getting about 5 wins this year. I think they'll take a step up to get one more win than last year, but I think majority of them are going to have to come on week 11 through 18. This team is just going to have another rough year for them. I mean, their schedule stinks. What's actually funny, too, is based on the strength of schedule, too, they're just about at 500. So they're actually towards, like, the bottom of the league. It's just, based on who the Jets are, it's just I don't know what they're going to be able to do. Looking at their depth chart, I mean, like, they have some names. I mean, Zach Wilson, if he takes a step up, he needs to really take that step up if they're going to get anywhere, basically. But, I mean, look at their tight end. They got C.J. Uzomah. They got Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson, Braxton Berrios. I mean, They got some people. I mean, their offensive line is all right. But the biggest is, and then if you look at their defense, they got like Sauce Gardner, like I said, LaMarcus Joyner, Jordan Whitehead, C.J. Mosley, Quentin Williams. I mean, the Jets have enough pieces there to have the making of an all right team. It's just, for whatever reason, they just can't seem to get it going. So just looking at their depth chart, like if they could just find a way, if they could just get everyone together and get something going, this team could definitely win 6-7 games potentially if they can just get that surge going. Because, they got the names, but it's all going to come down to Wilson and what he can do on offense. And then it's going to come to if Robert Saleh can get the defense to make a huge step up based off of what they did last year. So, like I said, this team could end up winning 5 to 7 games potentially, or they can end up winning 4 to 3 games. It just all depends on if Zach Wilson can make that step up this year and if the defense can get rallied around. Because, they have some good names, and, it's just the Jets have just been stuck in this thing right now where they just cannot get a quarterback to work for them, and that has really caused for them to have some bad play recently. And I think if they got any chance of doing anything this year, Zach Wilson needs to take that step up, and they really use some help on the offensive end from like C.J. Uzomah, Garrett Wilson. I know he's a rookie, but they're going to need him to step up a little bit to get some help. And then when it comes to the defense, they just got to do so much better than they did last year if this team's going to go anywhere and be able to do anything.